Hi Scrappy Peeps, Suzanna here today, and I'm delighted to share with you that I am a guest designer for Bella Blvd this week, and I am creating my first two projects with this collection. It's called Dad Style, and it premiered at Creativation in 2018, and I created that layout there. It is a long quote. It's one that I found about being a father, and the quote says, "A father is neither an anchor to hold us back, nor a sail to take us there, but a guiding light whose love shows us the way." So I created a cut file that had all of the words except for father and guiding light, and I'm looking for something to back this with. And initially I wanted to use the blue to go with the blue in those wonky letters there. But I ultimately decided to go with the darker pattern paper with the polka dots behind it and use that down the side of the layout as well, because you could see the quote better that way. And I knew that I wanted the guiding light to be in a different font that I had also created a separate cut file for that for. And I left this space in the middle knowing that I was going to put that black and white picture there. So this collection has some really cool masculine pattern papers and embellishments. So if you are looking for something to showcase a dad or a grandpa or even just any boy thing really, but sort of more of a dapper young man type thing. This is more of a young man layout than it would be of a young boy. This is a perfect collection for that. Originally, I thought I was going to use stripes going across the page, but because of the way that I had laid out the words, I really needed to have things go more vertical on the page than I did horizontal across the page. I could have made it work horizontal, but I was going to need long horizontal strips, and that was actually going to divide the page rather than give you that contiguous flow of the quote. So I ended up going with the verticals, and I did chop all of those words, but and originally I thought I was going to put those on both sides of the quote, but it ends up being too uniform and doesn't really, to me it feels like when there's two of the same thing, I feel like it's closing in on the layout rather than expanding it, if that makes any sense to you. So I decided that I still would use the words, but they were just going to go on the right side, and then I was going to have layers of vertical stripes on the left hand side. Now I needed to mat the picture with something, and so I decided to go with that gray, but I decided I needed to finish off these vertical stripes before I mounted the picture. So that blue there, I thought I need something dark on that right hand side to pull the two darks together and ground the layout, but that sticker from the sticker pack would work much better so that I could put the blue, that thin strip of blue, beside the stripes on the other side over there. So rather than wasting the whole piece of paper, I decided to use some of the stripes that I was not using, because the stripes are on the back side of that polka dot. So I just used the remainder of the stripes that I wasn't using for this particular layout to back the words. And to do that, I've got this really thin double-sided tape, and I'm just going to lay that between each of the words so that I don't get any gapping, or between each of the lines so that I don't get any gapping, and then between each of the words in that upper part of the quote there. And I am going to spare you the laying down of all of this and then the removing of it, or I will speed it up so that you don't have to sit through a whole bunch of that. But using the really fine double-sided tape and putting it between the words really makes adhering things like this that are small fussy spaces go a whole lot faster. And then I'm just going to press that pattern paper into it, and then I need to do the bottom to coordinate with the top there, and I don't have a piece long enough, but that's okay because I have enough of a space between words that I can do the same thing that I did up top and just piece two of the pieces of pattern paper together. So this photo has nothing to do with the quote, really, other than it is my husband, or the father of my children with his children, our children. And we were in Savannah having a good time on summer vacation. And he really is a guiding light for these kids. He's a wonderful father. And this was a great way to be able to sort of pay tribute to the fact that he is a good dad to our children. And I appreciate that. So I've lost the second strip. There we go. And I like that Dad is bold in that, and that you can see that in that particular strip there. And then I've got the other strips on the other side. And I love the yellow for guiding light, but I wanted a little bit more yellow to sort of tie that together to go with the blue. So in a minute, I'm going to pull out some of my watercolors and just watercolor some yellow in behind Father. Now I wanted to use a few of the embellishments, but because I have a lot of text on there, and a lot of these embellishments do have words on them, I decided that I actually did go with some words, and I went with loving with a heart above, because you could read the quote as a loving go up, come down to Father. A loving father is neither an anchor, or you could just read a father is, but loving sort of fit in with the theme of the quote. And I needed something behind guiding light as well. So I am going to fussy cut out this heart. And originally I was going to use the whole heart with, and I think that says my hero on the inside of the heart, but I thought that I could cover that up with guiding light and that you wouldn't be able to see it, but it's actually kind of distinct. So I am going to have to find a way to make that less visible, legible, readable. See, I thought I could cover it with that clock there, but the clock doesn't really go. And so to solve my issue and dilemma, I'm just going to cut out the center of that heart. But I need something underneath the quote to kind of ground it all, and I go with that little heart with amazing stuck on it. And then because I've got these hearts in there, I decided to use a heart behind loving as well to just tie that all together. So this is where I'm looking for that same sort of mustard yellow as is guiding light to paint behind Father. And you can see how once I've finished that it really does pop the blue letters a lot more and kind of tie that yellow into the layout together nicely. Now you see that clock in the top right hand corner. I did try and incorporate more of the elements in this collection into the layout, but I was going to be using them just for the sake of using them, not because they really served any purpose on the layout. And so I will abandon that clock there and add it to my stash to use for another project. So really here we have the bulk of the layout. I'm going to use my X-Acto to trim out the inside because it just makes no sense. And this is something that I will frequently do, is I'll start the cut with my X-Acto blade and then go around with my scissors, because it's just a whole lot easier to move the project with your scissors than it is to do so with a X-Acto blade. So now I've got all the pieces of the layout. It's just time to adhere everything down. I did try and figure out if I could maybe fussy cut a few of those hearts and incorporate them into the layout as well. But I believe that less is more, and on this layout, because of the busyness of the quote, really less is more. So I'm going to stick that down and then put the sticker for that dark element beside it to unite everything together. And then these other strips here. I just wanted to thin this out a little bit. Originally, they were both cut at the same size, and I wanted to gradate them just a little bit. I also wanted those strips to be the same size or the same width as the total width of the word strips on the right hand side of the paper there. So this is one of 4 layouts that I've done for Bella Blvd. 2 are with the Dad Style collection, and then if you come back on Friday, I have another blog post that'll be up on Bella Blvd. So today I have both of the Dad Style layouts up on the blog over at Bella Blvd, and then Friday I have another collection that I was working with, and you'll see those up on the Bella Blvd blog on Friday with one of the videos on Friday. And I actually think that the other video will come a little later, early on in next week. So it was an absolute honor to design for Bella Blvd. This is one of the companies that I have been hoarding collections for. I literally think I have every collection that Bella Blvd has put out since I started scrapbooking. And that was probably back in 2000. I can say I have every collection from 2006 when we first moved here to Virginia. I literally have collected every collection, and some of it I've hoarded and some of it I've done a pretty good job of using, but Bella Blvd has always been one of my #1 collections. So one of the things that I'm going to go in and do off camera is I am going to take a little bit of jute, navy blue jute, and tie that around the heart. I felt like I needed another touch of that brighter blue that goes with those wonky alpha stickers. The wonky alphas are not part of this particular collection, but they came in my box of goodies and they worked perfectly with this. So I'm just going to use a Primo glue pen to get these words down, and that, my friends, is going to pretty much wrap up the layout. And I didn't do anything else off camera. There's no journaling on this because there's enough words as it is. So be sure to come back tomorrow for another one of my Dad Style layouts. Enjoy the close-ups, and thanks for joining me today. I hope you're doing well. Take care.